Hey everyone, so welcome back to the stream. Today we're going to be talking about the 2026 movies so far in the year. I think we're in a good midpoint in the year now to talk about what we've gotten so far in terms of movies, what we've liked, what we've maybe disliked. But of course, I'm your host Ian, and I brought on John Talks, and let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, I'm John Talks. You can find me on TikTok primarily. I have started YouTube as well. That's kind of like on the upcoming, what am I trying to say? That's on the up and up right now. I have like a
Yeah,
little bit of a small following, not the same on TikTok. So if you were to find me on somewhere, I primarily am on TikTok, but I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. And I'm somebody like Ian likes to talk about movies. I talk about other stuff in like entertainment, talk about nerdy stuff. I usually talk about like everything that would encompass is in like the entertainment nerdy world. That's what I talk about.
yeah, hell yeah, man, love it. And so we had a sort of a slate to talk about, mostly like what we thought our top five favorite films were so far in the
Yeah.
year. I know it's
Yeah.
a big range of films, but of course, since you're my guest, I was wanting to see what you have as your top five, and we could talk about them and discuss.
Yeah, sure. Uh Honestly, it's actually kind of crazy because I was just talking to my little brother about this yesterday. But my top five right now, I would say, and this is in no particular order,
Hmm.
I would probably have to go with the Michael movie, just
Hmm.
because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. And when I was able to get tickets, I don't know how I was able to get tickets for the fan early screening
Oh,
that they did, like that Wednesday before it came out.
yeah,
So having seen it like two times in the same night that night, that was such a cool experience to see like a lively crowd in the IMAX theater. It was like, dude, that was honestly one of the best theater experiences I've had this year watching a movie. And not only just like watching a movie in the format that I try to at least watch a couple movies a year, and which is
yeah,
IMAX. I'm somebody like if there's a movie that's filmed in IMAX, like I try to watch it in IMAX. Like Christopher Nolan has been talking about,
oh,
they filmed obviously the Odyssey in IMAX. I'm like, I need to see that in IMAX. I'm like, it's just certain movies. I'm like, it's just certain things that you have to experience in IMAX or like like a bigger screen.
yeah.
But I have the Michael movie. Um, I actually have Obsession. Obsession right now
Yep.
is in my top five. Obsession
Mhm.
and actually the Backrooms is in my top five as well. Uh, I have to go back. Let me, because I have I see a lot of movies within the year, so sometimes I always I try to keep up, but I keep losing track of like the movies that usually have come out like the months before.
Oh
I said
yeah,
the
no
Michael
worries.
movie. I said Obsession. I said Backrooms.
Hmm.
Um, oh, this might surprise people. Oh, okay, yeah, I see it now. Project Hail Mary was my number four,
Oh
but
yeah.
then the movie that honestly might surprise people that I had in my top five of this year was it's weird because I have this kind of split because I liked both of the movies, honestly, but I have it split between the drama and Exit 8.
Exit 8. I don't think I've heard about that. What's that one about?
So Exit 8 is it's I like to I like to tell people not because the game came out before, but I like to tell people it's the Backrooms before the Backrooms came out because what it is
Uh,
essentially it's the live action version, or I guess you could say like a live action adaptation from this video game where it's this character, you're in a subway, but the subway is continuous and you have to make sure you're looking at the stuff around you to make sure you try to get to the exit. And the reason
mhm.
why it's called Exit 8 is because that's where the exit that you have to exit out of. It's like all
Okay.
these different it's like a liminal space type of thing that happens in this movie where it's just like this one subway station. It's underground subway station, but it's continuous. It like wraps around, and like the more it wraps around, the more you'll start like seeing like different like people, but the people are not like real. They're like basically uh um I don't want to call them like are they basically spirits. Yeah, they're basically like the dead versions of these people, like the people
Mhm.
that used to. It's like it's a crazy movie. I would encourage anybody to go watch it. Like I haven't played the game. I actually
Yeah.
got it recommended to me from TikTok because somebody in my comment section was like, "Hey, you should go and watch this." Give me this light, bro. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
There we go. Okay, this I'm like this light. Yeah, but
No worries.
I got it recommended to me on my TikTok. They was like, "Hey, like I played the game. Like you should watch this movie that's out in theaters right now, Exit 8." So I was like going online and trying to find out as much detail before watched the movie. So I watched the movie one day, and this is like one of those movies where it's like only gonna be like a small number of people in the theater because it's like if you
Yeah.
don't know, you're not gonna know. So I
Hmm.
don't honestly blame that, but it's not because the movie is bad. It's just because it has like a niche following. Like it's only
Okay.
basically like if you played the game or you like liminal spaces type of horror, you're only gonna know and be excited about this movie. But I watched it, dude.
Uh,
Yeah, I watched it. I had a good time, and it's honestly like it's an underrated movie of the year for me. I know people
okay.
are gonna say like Hokum. Um,
Hmm.
I liked the Devil Wears Prada too. I actually did like this one more. It's crazy me saying this because I saw both of them, but I like this. I like the second Devil Wears Prada better than the first one.
Okay.
But the first one for me works a lot for me because it had like a lot of memorable and iconic moments and lines and stuff. But just
Yeah.
the overall story for this one is what I liked more than the first one.
Yeah. No, I don't mind that take. I personally also like enjoy the first one. I did go see the second one and I loved it too. It didn't end up being on my top five, but it's up there though. It's a pretty good movie. I loved it. It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm like
Um,
it's not my top five, but I'm like it's still a good
it, it
movie. It's still a good
it's up
movie.
there. And also, I did realize looking at the Exit 8 stuff, I was like, oh wait, no, I did see that poster for that movie. And yeah, it's that subway corridor loop kind of thing, that liminal space.
Yeah,
That did look cool to me. So sucks I didn't get to see it, but I'll try to catch it maybe on a if it's on anything or if I could get a copy of it. So that's a
I
good
think it might
suggestion.
be on streaming to be honest. I have to check later and see what I'll text you. I'll definitely text you and see what on, but I
Oh,
think it
okay.
is you can stream it for sure. So I was seeing
I
that when they
Yeah, you could
released
get
it.
that to me. I'm pretty sure I see it here for rent on a few platforms, but I don't know if it's like on the streaming. But it man, it
Yeah.
was really good. I mean, obviously, I trust your opinion, but yeah,
It's like
it's getting really good reviews for sure. So
I was like, yeah, this it is always kind of interesting. Like I don't know. I always tell people like every single year when you start off the year, give it to about March because that's when you're gonna start getting like a lot of the good movies that were
oh
supposed to be coming out. Because
yeah,
this year, like when January started, we were still having different movies that were in theaters from December. So I
yeah,
don't really call that period of like the movie industry. I don't see that as like an area where you can kind of judge. And then also on top of that, we're like right smack dab in the middle of like award season, and
hmm
then March is usually the Oscars. So that's why I tell people like usually wait until March every single year because that's when like the crux of the movies that are being advertised that are that are big players usually in
hmm
the Oscar season, that's when they start showing up. But
yeah,
yeah, and that's literally what happened because I'm like going through my letterbox to try to remember what movies came out, and that's literally what happened because Project Hail Mary came out in March. The Bride came out in March, which honestly wasn't one of my favorite movies of the year.
yeah, me
Um,
neither.
They Will Kill You, which is a horror movie that I feel like is gonna go underrated this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That one surprised me honestly. I think the marketing was interesting because it kind of made it feel like it was going to be a John Wick kind of setup, but it
yeah,
ended up being like an odd like horror sort of like some a neat like splatter. So
yeah.
it had a little bit of camp, but it had a lot of like good action to it. I really liked it. It was
Yeah,
fun.
I liked it too. And that's what I was saying too when I saw the movie because like I didn't really know anything about the advertising of it. I just
Yeah.
knew like it was being advertised for Screen Unseen, and
Mhm.
then it was being advertised as like this like slasher movie. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Like I'm a horror fan. Like I'll go and watch it. And then when I was watching it, I was like, this literally is like they had John Wick and Scream had a baby. Like
Yeah.
this is like the one of the best movies as far as like horror, but I feel like it's gonna go underrated. And sure enough, like, I'm actually happy about this because I've seen some people talking about this year in horror when it comes like
Mhm.
to the female leads, and they pointed out Zazie Beetz' role in They
Oh.
Will Kill You. So I'm
Mhm.
happy that people are starting to talk about that because they were like, yeah, women in horror this year are like killing it, and then they had like I keep forgetting her,
Uh,
Samara Weaving, I
yeah,
think,
so
yeah,
from
Samara
Ready or
Weaving,
Not, yeah.
yeah, Ready or Not 2, and they had Zazie Beetz. Obviously, they had Indy Never Ready, and then they had Renette Reinsve. And they were like, yeah, women in horror this year are like killing it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm actually happy about that because I quite enjoyed the movie. It's like you said, it had like a certain level of campiness where it was like just enough, not too much over the top, but it was also like good action. Sure,
Yeah.
the story wasn't like all the way there, but that's you can throw that away. You can kind of like set that aside for like just a good kind of like action slasher movie like this. I
Yeah.
was just like, I had a good time. I had a good time.
Yeah. No, it's a great time. The advertisement was more that it was kind of neat because because they really don't reveal much of the movie in the trailers because the trailers were all just that mainly that beginning fight when she's actually in
Yeah,
the hotel. And then, past that the trailer really does make luckily not give you anything about the plot. And that's what's kind of cool about it because going into it, you're like, this is way different than I thought it was gonna
yeah.
be.
You're like this is like what the heck is this gonna be?
Which yeah, it ended up being a better time, I think, for that. So, but yeah, it's funny. I think we had some overlap in our top fives as well because I had Project Hail Mary that was in March, like you
Mm.
said, that was pretty good. I loved it. Great performances, great effects. I had read the book too before it, but it was a great adaptation of the book. So,
I gotta
um,
read the book.
I mean, it's a good time too. But I mean, honestly, the movie really does adapt it so well that you're really getting most of it in the movie. So,
Oh,
either
that's
way,
good.
but either way,
Yeah.
there was this really funny comedy, which technically I think came out in 2025 in festivals, but I don't really count that because we didn't get to see it in like theaters.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Did you ever hear about that?
I think I actually saw like an advertisement about that on Instagram. They were kind of I think some it was a creator that I was watching, and I think they were talking about the film festivals, and they
Hmm.
were talking about wanting to see that movie, but they didn't know if they had enough time. But I do remember hearing about that. I just
Yeah,
can't remember who exactly or like what the movie was about, but I do remember hearing about that. I was like, that sounds interesting. I was like,
yeah,
I like Nirvana.
yeah. Well, that's the thing for me. It was kind of weird because I walked into it not knowing anything. It was basically like me expecting it to be like a mockumentary about Nirvana, the band.
Mm.
Coming out of it, it literally has nothing to do with Nirvana. Actually, it is it's actually weirdly based on a TV show series that was originally on YouTube. So it was like these two guys made like a YouTube series called Nirvana the band. Uh, yeah, Nirvana the band, and then eventually they got greenlit for an actual like TV show called Nirvana the band, the show. And then
Yeah,
weirdly, randomly, I think that show had ended back in 2018. All of a sudden, they get this movie called Nirvana the Band to show the movie, and voila, you know what I mean? Uh, I'll
that
give you
is
a vague premise just so it doesn't get spoiled too much, but it's basically these guys that are trying to start up their own like band, and they're all coming out with these ideas about like what they should do, how to get like famous, and how to break out into like the music scene. But
yeah.
what eventually happens is a Back to the Future sort of plot, weirdly enough. Like, I swear to God, it's just Back to the Future, but in a really super, like, Back to the Future is already a comedy. This goes over that with so many more, like,
Yeah.
jokes and shit. So, I'd recommend it to anyone that didn't get to see it. You don't even need to watch the show or anything. It gives you enough to not have to, like, do any research on
Going
it or
to
anything.
yeah.
So, it's a good time. So if anyone wants to watch it, if you want to watch that, it's a good time, I would say.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the movies you brought up too. Of course, like Backrooms. I also have Obsession as one of my top five this year. I mean, Indy, oh, like
Dude,
outstanding
it's
performance.
like every time I think they're advertising this. It's funny enough because I think they're playing on par with what's going on with social media because like every time that they've been advertising it, they've like people are obsessed with like Indie Never
Yeah,
Ready. So I'm
yeah.
like I was like, dude, every single time I see a poster of her, I just like she's just the best. She's the best. Honestly, I would love to meet her.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, like I tell people all the time, I'm like I'm an aspiring director. Like the
Mhm.
the genre that I would be directing would be horror as well as curry. Like I feel like for me, there's just like a lot of like there's a lot of wiggle room you can do in that genre. You can kind of like bend it and like mold it into like what you're trying to do, as opposed to like any other genre of movie. But
Yeah,
like just like in the grand scheme of things, as far as like pursuing that path as my career, I would love to like meet her, bro, work with her. Like
yeah,
she's the best. Like she's honestly, and she honestly, in my opinion, I'm hoping next year for the Oscars she does get the nomination. I have her as my early pick for the Oscars. I don't know if that will happen. It'd be nice to have that happen. If it doesn't, it'd be sad. But I understand, like because I think it was something I was talking to my parents about, as far as like and I was gonna make a video about this, about how people are seeing this performance versus how the Academy could see this performance. There's a chance, honestly, that she could get in.
yeah.
Selfishly, I think I think me, you both, and a lot of other
Hmm.
people would probably want to nominate her.
Hmm.
But the reality is, like, typically the Oscars, for one, they don't do well with horror. Even though even in like the last couple years, we've seen like Demi Moore with The Substance and like
Yeah,
Amy Madigan with Weapons.
yeah.
Those I was telling my parents, those were more so
Like outliers, kind of.
yeah, those were more so kind of like about the person, not so much about the movie. It was like
Yeah.
Demi Moore getting that nomination. She's a titan in the industry. Like she's been in the industry for a long time. Like
Hmm.
this was essentially like her cherry on top. Like she got an Oscar nomination. Amy
Yeah,
Madigan, same thing. She's had a career as long as anybody can remember, dating back to probably like the 90s and stuff like that. This
yeah,
was her cherry on top. It wasn't probably because of the movie, unfortunately. It was probably just because of their performance and who they are.
yeah. Because like, yeah, especially Madigan, because Weapons didn't even get nominated for Best Picture, so that was the
Mm-mm.
only nomination related to
Yeah.
that movie. At
Yeah.
least with The Substance, they did nominate it, but I mean, I guess they maybe saw something in that, but I do agree that like I feel like with horror, it is an odd thing for the Oscars where they don't really like to represent it very much, and it's kind of sad because like like you're a big horror fan, I'm a big horror fan, and that's my favorite genre. I would love to
Yeah.
see someone like Indy get her nomination with maybe along with the nomination for the film also. Like
Yeah.
it'd be the cherry on top for that too because along with Indy, that movie just like the premise,
Yeah,
his direction
it's
is
just it's
fantastic.
really good. It's really good. And that's the thing that I was telling people, that I was like, it could happen, but I think the industry I think the Academy voting body could look at it as one of those things where it's like you could say it's really only getting the success because of like online fanfare that's going on right now. And
Yeah,
sure, it's having like a really strong performance at the box office, and it was only made for 750,000 dollars. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, it's an indie film.
yeah,
And sure, there are indie films that do slide into the Oscars every now and then, but that's like few and far between. So I think like in like all I'm all I'm essentially trying to, because I don't want to like disappoint anybody, but all I'm trying to say is essentially like we can have like our like fantasy of like what we want it to be, but
mhm,
also like keep a little bit of reality in it, just so that we can prepare ourselves for the possibility of that not happening.
yeah.
It could
Because
very well not happen.
yeah,
It could very well not happen.
and that's the unfortunate reality. Manage your expectations. I understand that because I was one of the ones that when Smile 2 came out, oh my
I
god,
was,
dude.
yeah, dude, I was saying the same thing. I was like, this is an Oscar-worthy nomination. Like, it should have gotten nominated. I was saying the
Uh,
same thing, honestly, about because people have started going back and saying stuff about like Lupita Nyong'o for Us, the
oh
Jordan Peele
yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
There's no way. I honestly, still to the day, I don't understand how she didn't get a nomination for that. But then I rethink and I'm like, it's because it's a horror movie. They don't do well with horror movies.
Um,
That's literally why.
it had. I feel like Oscars kind of look for it to be like weirdly a very artsy horror movie for them to want to include it. Because like
Yeah, and
I
that's
get
that's where you
like
get the
even though
substance.
Us, I kind of feel like the Us still could have been in that camp because I think it was in their. I think it kind of like meshed with what they would have looked for. I don't know why they didn't even consider it, but
Yeah,
whatever. But like you said, her performance in Us was great. Of course, Naomi Scott in Smile 2 was insanely fantastic. But yeah, we'll hopefully like our maybe we'll be optimistic. Hopefully they'd like eventually begin to like recognize it more and more. Maybe to even give it like its own what do you call it, category, maybe
Yeah,
if they want to.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be kind of sick. I would love to see a lot of horror movies listed down on an Oscar nominee kind of thing. That would be kind of sick.
That'd
Um,
be actually really cool.
but yeah, I think yeah. And then we brought up a few other movies. So Obsession. I have two other movies on my top five. One of them was Mortal Kombat 2. Obviously biased. It's just because I love the great adaptation of the video games. I didn't mind Mortal Kombat 1 from 2021. I thought it was a fine film. Of course, it brought in a character that was just not from the games. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know who Cole Young
Threw you
is.
off.
And I still don't
Like
know.
it threw you off.
And I still don't know who he is really. I know that they gave him character, but I still wasn't really sure who he was by the end of the film. But anyway,
I'm like, no.
regardless, Mortal Kombat 2, in a way, I guess we'll say course correct in the way, not because I hated that. It was just that now we're kind of getting back to like, oh yeah, this is just straight up adapting the games, and I love that.
Yeah.
It really gave me everything I ever wanted out of a Mortal Kombat movie. So that's why it ended up there. And if you haven't seen it, John, it's you might have seen it. There was this movie called The Furious that came out recently.
Yeah, I did, and I made the terrible mistake. I honestly I can't believe that I'm saying this because like the critics came out and it was like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
They showed it for not the past screen unseen last week, but the screen unseen before last week.
Oh, yeah.
I literally watched like 30 minutes of it, but because it was a different show time for a movie that I was seeing the day that was about to start, I had to walk out. And it wasn't because the film was not good. It was literally only because this other movie was starting. So I was like, oh dang, I forgot this was starting. So it was like one of those things where I was like walking out. I was like, but I really want to stay because I come to find out like the movie that I was seeing today wasn't that good. And
Yeah.
then I come home and I sleep the next day and I wake up the next day and I come to find out that the movie had debuted on Rotten Tomatoes like at 100%. So I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
I mean,
should
even
have
the first
stayed.
30 minutes you probably saw, that's a pretty good 30
Yeah,
minutes, I'll
dude.
be honest.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. That was a
But
crazy action-filled 30 minutes.
if you get the chance, I might be wrong, but they might be still showing it in your local theaters. At least in mine, they were still showing it. I watched it twice now. Once with my sister, the next time with a friend of mine. And man, dude, like if you love the raid movies, which I do love those raid movies, I love martial arts in general. I love martial arts movies, and
It was
this was
amazing.
it goes over the like it does everything you want. It's not so when you watch a trailer for it, you're probably thinking, oh, it's like I think maybe it gives that kind of I don't know, it kind of gives that feel of like it's both very grounded, it's kind of gritty, serious, but it also
Mm,
feels very floaty in the way their movements are. But once you
mm,
actually watch the film, it feels pretty like visceral whenever they're actually punching and doing the martial arts.
yeah,
So I think that's a distinction to make to be like, oh wait, guys, this is like I mean it gets
this is
goofy
really, really.
it gets goofy in parts, but like overall it's still a pretty damn good act like martial arts film. So I'd
I'm glad you
recommend
made that comparison too, because I was thinking the same thing when I was watching like the first 30 minutes of it. I was like, this reminds me of Raid. This
yeah,
reminds me of Raid. And I,
yeah.
I, I'm glad you said it because I love those movies, dude. I remember watching those movies when I was a kid, and I just remember, I just remember like all the blood and stuff like that in those movies, and I was just like, this is freaking awesome, dude. Like,
It's a I love those films, and this is like I don't know. I'll think over it still because I'd watched the Raid movies a few times, but I've only watched this twice now, so it's probably either above it or just on the same level. It was funny right after we watched the showing. When I went to watch the show with my friend, this guy behind us was like, "Did you guys like that?" Not like he didn't like it. He was just asking us, and we're like, "Oh yeah, that was
yeah,
awesome, dude." And he's like, "Yeah, it reminded me of like the It Man movies, right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude,
yeah.
I love the It Man movies." I was like, "Yeah,
It was,
that's
it
good."
was.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good that way. And I think he brought up like It Man and a mix of something, and I'm like, "Yeah, I could see that. You know, it's a good mix of that." Yeah.
I was like, I definitely. I think they might still be showing it in my theater. If they are, I'm definitely gonna go watch that because I have a couple movies I was gonna watch on Monday. Um, I don't know if we'll talk about that. I don't know if you've seen it, but Supergirl is one of those movies I'm gonna go see on Monday. I
Hmm.
know a lot of people are not too high on that movie right now, from what I'm seeing, which is kind of
Yeah,
sad because I was anticipating that movie. I was excited about that movie, and to see online that the reviews of it is like kind of mixed, I'm like, oh, this is not.
yeah.
Oh,
But I might be wrong, but I assume that you're like kind of like me, and we talked about this on our council episode too. But we looked at the Rotten Tomato scores for it, and to be quite honest, it never really swayed me anyway to go
hmm,
watch any movies usually, just based on that kind of score because I honestly watch everything. It doesn't even matter, but
yeah,
especially for superhero movies, I go in there and I'm like, this could be the worst thing ever. I'm still gonna go watch it. I don't care, man.
right,
I am in it for the sport and then for the game. And honestly, I think the Supergirl like critique right now is kind of overplayed. I haven't seen it either yet, but I'm based on what I've heard from friends, close friends, and people I know that like DC and stuff. They've been saying it's not bad, like not compared to what you're
yeah,
seeing currently. So I'm
yeah,
sure it's going to be a fun watch. So
yeah.
I would,
That's
yeah,
you're the same way I am because I was telling people, especially like, no offense, like I know Rotten Tomatoes will have some movies that they'll give a good review of, and I'm like, okay, that
oh
was surprising that you guys will actually give that. Like when they had The Furious at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I was like,
yeah,
okay, like you guys are giving this movie that probably gonna go under or like under the radar for people right now. You guys giving this 100%. Okay, that's actually nice to see. But like I'm like you, especially when it comes to superhero movies, because I'm like a huge like superhero fan, like a comic book fan. I go in and do like the Marvels came out a couple years ago. Whenever that came out, people were trashing that movie from like sun up to sundown. I still went in there. Sure, was it the best Marvel movie? No, but I still went in there. I was like, there was some stuff that I quite enjoyed. I actually did enjoy the CGI in that. I think that's honestly, this might be a hot take, but it might be some of Marvel's best CGI they've done since Endgame, since like the
oh,
Infinity Saga. I
mhm.
think the fight scenes in that movie were some of the best that Marvel has been doing since the beginning of the Multiverse Saga. But like, yeah, I don't. I try not to let the Rotten Tomato score like I sway me either. Like I try to go in because it's like you. I watch everything. There's indie movies that I watch. There's all types of movies that I watch. I've been going back and starting back to I used to watch those movies a lot before the pandemic. I've been going back and watching anytime I see like a Hindi movie out. I'll go and watch that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I'm like I literally watch everything. Like
yeah.
there's nothing that I don't watch.
I think for a bit I was like I think when I was working at my previous job, I was pretty much going like every single day because both with my AMC A list thing, but also just because that was like the thing I love to do was like I'm going to a movie every single day. It was kind of crazy because then even my big film guy friends that I know are all like, "Man, dude, I can't even do that," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, but I like going to watch anything." I've been a little bit more like I haven't gone as much with my new when I've been working at this new job, but like I'm still probably seeing about 2 to 3 movies a week, so that's still like
Yeah, that's so
but
good.
yeah, but I still like you said, when there's an indie movie out, I'm like, damn, I need to go watch that shit. I hope there's always at least a showing at my local theater too. That's the only thing
Yeah,
sometimes is like like Exit 8. I'm sure there was, but sometimes those are only like for a week or two sometimes, and then you miss it. At least that's
yeah.
what I've seen, but
No, you're right. They those type of movies, they because they don't get a lot of kind of initial, I like to call it initial reaction from like critics and stuff like that. It's
yeah.
usually word of mouth. And so by the time you actually have the time to go see it, 9 times out of 10 it's already out of theater.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks, but I mean, unfortunately, that's what they end up doing for some of those. But yeah, I like our positivity though right now. But I
Yeah.
guess do we happen to go with some least favorites we've had so far in the year?
I actually do have some least favorites, and it's not because like they're necessarily bad movies. It's
Yeah.
just more so from my standpoint. I just wish there was more. Like I only
Mhm.
have really three movies that I'm checking my letterbox. I really only have probably yeah, maybe three movies where I'm saying like this was a movie where it was bad in the sense of like, it could have just been more. I was
Yeah.
bored and really didn't leave me with anything. One of those movies being Reminders of Him. I I don't know. I tell people all the time about this, and I've seen this talked about online on TikTok, and I think people need to talk about it more. For the life of me, even after what happened with It Ends With Us, I don't understand why the industry keeps trying to like convert all her books into movies. Colleen Hoover's books, if you read them, they deal with a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that she kind of like glorifies. I'm just like, I don't really see how anybody would be a fan of that. But okay, maybe there's an audience for someone, but just not me. So I had
Yeah.
that on there. Um, there's a movie, it's an indie movie, and it wasn't because it was a bad movie or like a bad idea or concept. It's just it left me feeling kind of empty
Mhm.
after watching it. But it was this movie called By Design.
Huh. Let me look that up. I don't know that one.
Uh, I think because I've seen you talk about certain movies that they give you to promote on there. I got it recommended to me by Pixel Scene Media.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
got this screening to watch it, and I am not gonna lie, I was like, I don't enjoy this, guys. I'm sorry, and it's not
Mhm.
because it looks like a bad idea. The concept is just,
That is
ugh.
so funny. Literally,
I,
premise from this Wikipedia article: a woman swaps bodies with a chair. I like it. It's funny
I
because
was like,
I'm like, sure, why not? It's because it's funny because I think there's like an anime where this guy turns into like a vending machine. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I guess whatever. But that
it
sucks
kind of,
that
it
that
kind
kind of. That, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I was probably gonna say what you were gonna say. I was saying that it sucks because there's actually an anime that I did watch and that I did enjoy, and that's one of my favorite animes from that studio where
Hmm.
this girl is following this guy because he got turned into a chair. He like speaking to her through a
Oh
chair.
yeah, I know.
Suzumi.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
I
what you're
was
talking
like,
about.
yeah, yeah. Me and a buddy of mine, we watched that. We didn't understand it, and so I was like, I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow just to like actually try to see what it's about. So the second time I watched it, I fully understood what was going on in the movie, and I understood what was being talked about. And I was like, "Oh, dude, this is a genius concept. Like, I love this. This is literally one of my favorite animes out there right now. This feels like that, but they took away the magic of what made Suzume
Mm,
Suzume, and it was just like,
yeah,
let's just take the concept of this lady turning into a chair, and I was just like, yeah, but there's got to be some other like meaning to it. Like, it can't just be her turning into a chair. Like, what's it supposed to represent?
yeah.
So I had that, and then I think the third movie was actually it might surprise you, but if you remember this movie that was out in theaters. I actually might need to change my score later about this because I talking about it with people. I've grown less and less about liking it. But there was a movie that was out called Faces of Death.
Oh, yeah, I heard of it. I ended up not watching it, but apparently it's a remake, I believe, of like an
It
older
is,
movie.
and that's what I didn't know because it was a dude that works at the movie theater. He doesn't work there now, but I'm cool with him. He was telling me because he's older, he's a lot older than me. He was
Hmm.
telling me he's like you watched that movie Faces of Death? I was like, yeah. He's like, you like it? I was like, not really. Like, and it wasn't because like the concept wasn't interesting. I just like, I don't know. It just felt like it could have been more. Like he was like, did
Yeah,
you know there was it's a remake? That was an actual movie. He's like, yeah, that's what they were talking about in the movie. He's like, it's a remake of the movie that they're making. I was like, hey,
you're
listen,
like,
I had no idea. I had no idea. Will that probably go into me changing the score? No, I'm still
mm,
having it at the score that I have it at, but I didn't know that it was a remake. But yeah, that movie is just it felt like it was trying to be this movie that I always remember. It was a horror movie, but it was more suspense. I can't remember the name of it, but it felt like it was trying to be that, and it just like again, it just didn't have the same magic.
Yeah,
I can't remember what this horror movie is. I can remember what the premise was. It was essentially the same thing as Face of the Death, but it didn't have the same magic. And I think like I don't know, Face it could have just been more. It could have been more. From what I know and from what people have told me, the the version that came out in like the 90s or something like that, it definitely had this sense of like this stuff is real. This
yeah.
one, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah, I remember it was kind of like I never watched the original either, but I know a buddy of mine would talk about it and just saying how like, they would kind of add in clips of it being like real, like unfortunately like graphic content and stuff in between like scenes that
Yeah.
were like the movie was fake, obviously, but they would add in real
Hmm.
scenes that would like kind of spliced in there and then you're like, "Oh, okay." Like trying to be I don't know how to say like kind of edgy for the sake of being edgy to be like, oh guys, look,
Yeah.
putting real shit in here and we're making it so like crazy and shit. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem to appeal to me really. It is crazy that I'm looking at it right now that the original was made on $67,000 and made 35 million. That is kind of crazy. But yeah,
That's like, wow.
the original one was in '78 and it was called a Mondo horror film and it was presented as like a documentary. Was this one like trying to be a documentary or mockumentary or something or no?
I think it was like trying to be, and that's the thing, dude. It wasn't even, I don't, I, you can't even say like a mockumentary because like this one, quote unquote, had like a real story, not in the sense of like reality, but it
Yeah.
had like an actual like plot that you were trying to follow along with. But I'm like,
Oh
what made the 78 version what it was because it was a documentary, like basically like essentially a mockumentary where it seemed like all this stuff was real.
yeah,
This one you can clearly tell like there's like a budget into this one. Like there's obviously a plot that you're following along with. There's characters that you're trying to follow that have character arcs. Like and like you said, they spliced in when I was watching it, they spliced in the original version when they were talking about certain stuff to do with the main characters antagonists like of the
yeah,
movie. But outside of that, like the execution scenes didn't have like any magic behind them where it was just like, oh, like this is kind of like scary or anything like that, or like
yeah,
kind of make you go like sit up a little bit. I don't know. It just didn't have the certain kind of aura that you were looking for around this one as opposed to like the 79 version, 78 version.
yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll probably still give it a watch just for the sake of it, just to kind
Yeah.
of round all the horror movies of this year. But yeah, I knew go. Oh, that's funny. Charlie XCX is in the movie.
Hmm. She is.
I didn't
And
know
that's the
that.
thing, like it's a quote unquote like star-studded cast because like Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things is in there.
Oh yeah,
Um I keep forgetting her name. Barbie Fioria is in
from
there from
Euphoria.
yeah, from Euphoria. Charlie XCX is in there. So it's like a star-studded kind of, and it's just like this guy, this comedian, he's in there as well, this black guy. Yeah,
Jermaine.
like this is a star-studded cast, but I don't know, it didn't have any aura. I
Yeah,
didn't feel like the magic behind like why this movie was made. I don't know. It was probably like one of my least, yeah, probably it. That's why I have it on there as like one of my least favorite movies of this year, just because like it wasn't a bad movie in the sense of like being so bad. Like it's still rated at 3 stars just for the effort and like the idea and just for like the overall like I don't know performances and like what they were trying to do. But like it was just kind of like okay, I'll just watch that. Like let's just move on. Like I already
yeah.
forgot about it.
No, that makes sense, man. I get like, yeah, it's happened before for me too. Just these movies that kind of just leave you like, okay, I don't know what to do
Yeah.
with this now. Um,
It's like, yeah, I was like, it's just one of those movies. Where just like, okay, I saw that. Like, I just logged that in my letterbox. Never watched that in again.
yeah, yeah. No, but I'm glad you brought that up because actually it was in my I had it in my mind when it was coming out. I just didn't end up watching it because I think there was something else around the time. But well, that's a good. I like your list though of your least favorites. That's a good list. Surprise. Also, happens to be on my list as well. Reminders of Him. Don't understand either, man. Why Colleen Hoover keeps getting adaptations, but
That's like
she does keep getting them. Reminders of Him, though, weirdly isn't the worst of the three that have come out to me. Actually, I mean, at least to me. Like though, like what's the first one called?
I think it is with us, right?
It Ends With Us. Didn't care for that. It's more of the subject matter and obviously what you were saying about her just glorifying it. I don't really care for that. I think the other one was called it might have been called something Reminders of Us or something. It would have been something reminding of you or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah,
With
her
McKenna
memories
Grace.
of. Oh, dude, I know what you're talking about because I seen that. It was her and Mason Thames.
Oh, Regretting You.
Regretting You. Yeah, I
Yeah,
seen that too, and I was just like, his. I yeah, that's crazy that you bring that up because I actually think that was last year, right?
Regretting You was
I
last
rated
year.
that. I rated that 2 stars too. It was all, all of her movies. I don't know what it is. I don't understand. Like I don't get it. There's like sure I get it. Like there's an audience for it, and like I've talked to people and I talked about this on my TikTok. Like, and I've always had people in my comment section be like, I quite enjoyed it, blah blah blah. Like I read her books. Like I overall like enjoyed it. There were some parts too
Yeah,
that I can understand how someone couldn't like this. She's like, but overall, like I still liked it. I was like, hey, like I'm happy for you. If you were able to find something enjoyable about the book
yeah,
and about her movies, like by all means, like I'm not gonna try to
yeah.
sway anybody from their opinion. I just know for me, the subject matters and what they do and just how they're being promoted, they're being promoted in a way that's not like the book and like the subject matters. Like like abuse and like domestic violence. I don't like it never. I don't know. The way they were advertising It Ends With Us was like really weird, dude. It
Oh
was like one of
man.
those things where it was like, let's have this movie tackle really serious subject matters that happens in relationships all the time, but then we're gonna advertise it as if it's like this
It's like,
like
oh,
weird.
take your friends out to go see this movie and have a good time or
Yeah, like
something. You
take
know
your
what I mean?
friends out, take your girls out, like wear your flower dresses. I was just like, huh? Like what's what's going on right now?
And it's funny you bring this movie up too, because since it was on my list, my sister brought up. She watched it with my mom. This Is Us, or It Ends With Us. Sorry,
Yeah.
and they were also like, yeah, I don't know I don't know what it was, what everyone was talking about, but not saying that they didn't understand like what the controversy was. Just more like the people that did like it, they're like, I don't know what it was that
I
people
don't
were
know
talking
what they were talking about.
about. But from that one had the controversy behind it. Past that, Regretting You, I heard was more just like, just nothing really special. Reminders of Him, weirdly enough, when I went to go see it, I saw it because of the premise from the trailers. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this isn't spoiling anything. It's from the trailers where, wow, this woman like killed her boyfriend in a car crash and now she's like trying to rebuild her life and stuff. And I'm like, I mean, sure, I guess. Let
Sure.
me give it a try.
Right. Sure.
I'm like, but it's weird. You might agree with me here. I feel like weirdly Reminders of Him though had that there was things there where it felt like a real movie to me, and I mean that in the way that like I was like, man, this is actually feels like pretty good in some parts. But then you get to these other parts that are just Colleen Hooverisms, where I'm like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
And
not.
I honestly I felt the same way. Like it was scenes where her essentially trying to like she was trying to do stuff to rebuild her life.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, this feels like a real movie. This
yeah,
feels like a real movie. This feels like there's a character here that I'm invested in, that I'm interested in, that I'm trying to follow along. The scenes where it was her and I forget his name because he was in him, but
yeah.
those scenes and they're talking like the dialogue. I don't know what it is about how she writes her books, but the dialogues I always tell people about these movies, the dialogues between these characters in her movies, it sounds like robotic, and I'm like, this is not how human beings talk. Like I have never heard a human being talk the way that they talk in these movies. Like it's crazy to me. But I do agree with you. Like there are some points of the movie where it honestly feels like it's an actual movie going on. Like it's an
Yeah.
actual like real movie that they put. effort into trying to convey like a certain type of message or try to get a certain type of theme across. And that was typically when there wasn't, I don't want to say it like that because like there's a woman lead in the movie, but it typically was when there wasn't a lot of like talking with other characters and it was just more about her in the
Yeah.
movie. It typically was like when there was other characters in the movie that she was interacting with, kind of got into what you were saying with the Colin Hoovernism of it, where like the talking does not seem organic, it seems robotic. I'm like, does not seem like human beings talking at all. Like it just that's where I got into that frame. But overall, I do agree with you as well. You brought that up. Even though I have it rated lower, it probably is the lowest rated one, and I have to still see, unfortunately, in End with Us because I didn't see it just because like the controversy around it. But I was like, I'll eventually see this. Like, I'll just chalk it up and I'll just maybe watch it on a day where I just like I need to waste some time. But I
Yeah.
do agree that Reminders of Him definitely isn't the worst one. It's
Yeah.
still bad, but
Yeah.
it feels like you were saying, like we just been saying, it feels like it honestly was trying to be a real movie.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, there was definitely some scenes I was kind of digging a lot in the movie, and I wish that they had actually like built upon it more with that. But like you said, a lot of dialogue issues for sure, just because they're really adapting that movie, the books, like dialogue a lot, and it's a weird, odd thing to bring up too. But I'll bring it up very briefly, just because kind of falls into like with this. It ends with us kind of controversy and stuff. Just kind of like the book originally had it that the car crash unfortunately happened because she was, I think I think she was intoxicated when she was driving. So that's why they got into a car crash. But it's weird. In the movie, though, um, they made it that it was more simply that maybe they did like a gummy or two, but that wouldn't have like necessarily taken away her like ability to like, you know what I mean? And then there was that pothole. I think if you remember in that scene where
Yeah,
it was really the pothole that caused the accident
yeah,
rather than like her driving. And I'm like, that's a really weird change from the book to the movie to me. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's kind of apparent that they
interesting.
made it so you don't feel like she's more of a likable person because you're like, well, it wasn't actually her fault. It was,
Yeah,
it just so happened to happen. But I'm like, it's because you're trying to redo what Colleen Hoover did in her book, where that is a bad thing that happened that she shouldn't have done. And you're like, well, in the
yeah.
movie, it just so happened to happen, I don't know.
I think
I
if I remember right, I don't think since you have said that, I think in the movie they tried to change it from the book because I didn't read the book. So
mean,
if that was in the book, I believe you because it sounds like something that would sound like something that would be in her book. But
yeah,
from what I saw in the movie, if that's in the book, that really is not that big of a change, and they didn't really probably. They honestly probably should have just kept the way it is because if I remember right, I think in the movie the reason why the car crash happened was because I think they were high, right?
yeah. I think so. They were at the beach, and I believe that him and her took like a gummy, and but like it's a movie, so it's like it kind of makes it that she's very cognizant, or how do you call it? Like she's very able to drive. But
Yeah, or like gotten
what I think was just different, that was kind of weird to me, was that the reason the crash happened, it has seemingly appeared. I know you've only watched it once. I've only watched it once too, but I do remember it distinctly. A pothole was the reason why it kind of like crashed the car, because she lost control
yeah,
from that pothole. But in the book, it's just straight up like, oh, you're intoxicated. You don't
you
drive
lost
correctly.
control,
Yeah.
right?
So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be
Interesting.
like it is in the book, so it is like what she wrote. It I don't want to make it. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, it's just kind of a
No,
weird
no, you're
change.
good. I'm because this is like that's something I didn't know, and I'm like if that was in the book, I'm like I don't really understand the change
Yeah,
in the
I mean,
movie because like
I,
it's
it could
I
have
don't know.
been that you feel that I think a lot of people would not be as like forgiving of a person if they just straight up were intoxicated and decided to drive, rather than someone that crashed really just happened because unfortunately the roads were just not great, you know what I mean? And then that
Yeah.
just happened to make the crash happen where I'm like, oh yeah. Like in the movie, I actually think that I'm like, oh shit, like I don't think you should be really blamed for that. Even the way it happened too, when she went to go get help and all that. I mean, it's a really crazy situation, right? So
Yeah, I
go
think
ahead.
I now looking at how you're saying it, I think they made the change to try to give her character something that the audience could like kind of
Yeah.
cheer for and root for because it's like the
Mhm.
whole entire movie from that point on is like everybody blaming her for this awful thing that she did, but not really
Exactly.
knowing that it wasn't her fault, as opposed to the book where it's like, no, it's clearly her
Yeah.
fault. Like she
Yeah.
was essentially on drugs, like she didn't have control over her body and she lost control of the will and she ended up getting into an accident.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would that
So
would be,
yeah, just a little
I
tidbit.
don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just like why is this even a thing at all? Because
Yeah.
like I'm
Uh,
like there's like
yeah.
ton of books and movies that are interpretations from books that do a lot better at explaining what she talks about in her books that don't glorify it, right? And
Yes.
I'm just like sitting here and I'm just like these studios are like, oh, Colleen Hoover. Like I was hearing rumblings about a couple months ago, they're about to adapt another book of hers. I forgot what
Mhm.
it is, but it's like another
Yep.
book that's about to get adapted. I'm like, okay, this is another one where I'm just gonna have to like suck it up and go watch it, even though I really don't want to. So
You know, the goat, of course. We got to go see her movies.
yeah, I'm like, she is the goat.
uh, she
I'm like, you can,
Funny enough though, John, I think the one that you're talking about, I did see that one. My sister supposedly says though, that's really this one that is coming up might be a decent film because it's actually like an outlier from her normal movies where they all kind of feel like, you know, just kind of like this more drama centric sort of like, you know, sort of relationship stuff, which is fine. I mean,
yeah.
those appeal to people. I get that. The new one that's coming out is called Veridity, I think, or something, but it's supposed to be like a psychological thriller where you saw
Mm,
maybe Anna Hathaway and Dakota Johnson are both in the film. It's
mm.
pretty
Oh,
interesting,
with
actually.
Josh Hartnett.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
I seen the poster for that one. That actually, I was saying to myself, 'cause I think last time I was at the movie theaters, I was walking in like a specific area where they had this at they had a poster for it. And I said to myself, I'm like, that looks interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Like Anne Hathaway, Dakota Johnson, Josh Hartnett, like I'm like, that looks I don't know what that movie is, but I'm like, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
Now I know I mean I I kind of wish I didn't know it was based on a Colin Hoover movie, but if it's a what is it? If it's a suspense thriller,
Yeah.
because I like those type of movies and that's kind of somewhat in the realm of horror, I will go watch it.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. And if it I and if your sister's anything to go off of as far as like, you know, it's one of the basically better ones that she
Mhm.
has as far as her books, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a
Yeah.
shot. I'll
I
keep an open mind.
Me too. Like I'll take her opinion too. I'll keep an open mind for it because I like the casting better here. I also like the genre better here just because it is a psychological thriller. It just is
Yeah.
something. It does seem like an outlier of her work. You know, like because since the other stuff isn't like that, I'm like maybe this might be okay. We'll see. Me and you might need to do a stream when it comes out and we have to talk about
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
it.
like that actually would be nice just talking about that movie. Just
Yeah,
have
that would
both
be
of us
fun.
watch it and then we just come back in and talk about that. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we could do that. So, yeah, okay, cool. So we've gone over our faves, our least faves, and I think we've kind of covered a bit of like these other little bits, but we can still go over them.
Hmm.
Like best horror movie, I think we probably agree, right? Obsession, like so far,
Ah,
or are we kind of in
oh,
between? Because that's cool if we're in
yeah,
between, because I like to hear the other stuff.
I tell people all the time, I try because this year, especially with like the last couple months, obviously we've gotten like obsessions and backrooms, and everybody's been like online being like, "What's the better one? Is it obsession? Is it backrooms?" And I've always kind of played the middle ground, like, "Hey guys, like they're both amazing horror movies. Like they're both made by amazing young directors. Like let's just take it for what it is. Let's not compare these two. These two completely different movies." But if
Mhm.
you're asking me, right, just like overall, what
Yeah,
did I like better, or not even what I like better, just what's the best one to me. I would give like literally when I say slight, I'm like literally like this. They're basically neck and neck, but it's just like literally like a hairline above. I will give a slight edge to Backrooms.
Okay, I like that. So,
Just
yeah,
honestly because of the way that I felt about watching that movie. It took me back to when I first watched the found footage video that debuted in 2022.
yeah,
It got me feeling the same way. Like even like the first initial scene where it's the async employee inside, he's trying to find his way back out, and he runs into Captain Clark, and like that honestly was like the found footage video where it was like you're just watching this thing and you're hearing all these noises and it's the buzzing of the back rooms. You don't know what's going on and you feel like this uneasiness, but you can't really explain it. That's what I felt from this movie, and it took me back to that. And I was like, honestly, that's what gave me what gave it the slight edge over Obsession. Obsession overall is a great horror film. Like it has everything that you would want from a horror film for everybody. It has jump scares. It has like a certain level of like feeling like a certain vibe from this movie. It has
yeah,
good character development, has a good story along with it that I think is actually really cool that they took and kind of like spin like a topic that is stuff that happens in reality when it comes to like men and how they treat like women and like also like women and how they things like that. But what this movie for me didn't have that Backrooms did have was what I was telling you. Like
yeah,
watching Obsession, it's like even watching it now, I still feel a certain way that I feel about it since even
mhm,
like going back to the first time that I watched it. But like watching this movie, I now as so many times that I've watched it, I now understand more. I'm like, okay, this is a certain type of horror movie.
yeah,
This is not like a it's not one of these horror movies like Backrooms where it's gonna be you basically making up everything, um, or trying to like essentially figure out everything on your own, or it has
yeah,
like stuff that's not really explained in the movie that you have to watch multiple times and to understand it.
yeah,
Obsession has that, but even from the first time you watch this movie, there's a clear cut like, okay, I understand what's going on in this movie. It's like
mhm,
Backrooms is so crazy because it's like this concept of the back rooms. It's like, what the heck is this thing? Like, it's this thing, it's this space, it's a liminal space where essentially it's carbon copies of stuff that like is in our reality,
mhm,
but it's not remembered in the same way that we remember it right now, but it's
mhm,
here. Like, why am I? And then that's when you get into like the still lives and the life forms, and then you get into this other thing, and it's like, if you were like me, like the reason why this movie was so cool is because I honestly started going back and rewatching certain videos that maybe
yeah,
I just watched and skipped over certain details. Like I've talked to people about the movie, and I'm like, I haven't even. I'm like, you guys have not even touched on like the green energy with the Backrooms lore and like how the green energy is basically like a take from the first like kind of thing that made the Backrooms and like the energy. Like it's such a cool thing, dude. And that, but honestly, like for as much as I tell people like I don't like picking between the two because these are like two completely different horror movies. If somebody were to like, no, you have to give a definitive answer, I would say Backrooms only
yeah.
for that reason, just because like it has a certain feeling that I'm getting from watching this as opposed to Obsession.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I also had the background in watching the original Backroom series when it came out, and as it kept going on as well. So watching the Backrooms was cool. I also was kind of liking to be that kind of person like you and me, where we actually got to watch it and being like, how is he going to adapt his own story from the series and
Mm,
see how he does it? Is he going to do it a direct, like a straight up adaptation? Is he going to change anything? Obviously, we know now he's changed a bit of it, which is
right.
cool because it makes it distinct for us too, because we're like, oh shit, like we're not just watching the exact same thing. We're getting a little bit
Yeah.
of a different sort of I don't know, not interpretation, because I do think that he thinks this is still part of his series universe too.
Yeah. And he
So
said that too. He was like, "This
yeah,
like a streamline like continuation from what he was doing on his YouTube."
yeah. So it's really cool to go into it like that. I also don't mind it. Like obviously you could go watch it without knowing any of that, but it is kind of neat to go into it with that knowledge. But even if you don't, the whole concept itself is still such a great concept on its own. I mean, the series did it first, but like even if you're going into this movie, it's like the liminal spaces, especially also like you said, the characters they focus on with Clark and Mary, right? Mary,
Hmm.
yeah, like you have distinct different characters with different like I don't know how to say it, like different like traumas and personalities that really like, they kind of like in a way like kind of you get to see both sides of that in the film, which is really neat because you get to see how it manifests for different the one of the characters, of course,
Yeah,
Captain Clark.
but I mean, you're telling the truth though, honestly, because like that's where people start having like different theories about the characters, and that's what I honestly liked about the concept because like the concept that he had, well, it's the same concept because the general idea of the backrooms, but the movie is a little different from the videos in his YouTube series because he's essentially taking the base foundation of the backrooms and like
Yeah.
making like it an allegory in the movie for something to do with like mental health, and it
Yeah.
was cool for me to see like what you were saying where it was like these two characters are dealing with something like mentally, but it's
Mhm.
manifesting in different ways. Like for
Exactly.
Mary, it manifests with watching her mother. In my opinion, I believe I had a theory about this. I'm like, I believe she was one of the first people that experienced going into the back rooms, which is why she started going crazy because the async employees were coming after her and they were trying to
Oh,
get after her and stuff like that, which is why she got put in the mental hospital because they were trying to keep a tight lid on this, which
yeah.
is resulted in Mary kind of becoming a therapist because like her mom was crazy, but she wasn't really crazy. And I think Mary also knew that she wasn't crazy, but
Hmm.
didn't really know how to cope with the idea that this thing that she was talking about all the time possibly could be real until she heard Clark talking about it. But then with Clark, it's like it's manifesting in a different way where it's like he's abusive to his wife. He's like,
Hmm.
he has a drinking problem. He has like all these mental health stuff going on as far as the depression. And I want to be where he wants to be in his life as he is right now in the current state in the movie. So like seeing this story about like mental health used in the back rooms and having it manifest in the way that we see it with these two characters was like some of the coolest thing that I've ever seen all year when
Yeah.
it comes to horror.
Yeah, I agree. All those great, those are all great points. Everything I agree with. And also too, with the direction of the film, I think it was really good. Of course, from Kane Pixels. It also was kind of neat to have our, well, everything was practical, cool, right? You got all the sets were practical, which was awesome. Even Captain Clark, dude, was practical, which was crazy to
Yeah,
me.
I was
I
like,
was like,
it's
what?
like yo, I don't know if you remember, he's the same the actor that played Captain Clark. I don't if you remember Alien Romulus,
Yes, yeah,
the xenomorph in that one.
yeah.
That's the same guy that played Captain Clark. The
Oh,
same guy
really?
that played, yeah. He used to. I found out like a little bit of information after watching Alien Romulus. He used to be like he's like 7'7", like really tall
Oh,
guy.
shit.
But he used to play basketball in like the Euro League in Europe. But
Yeah,
he transitioned into being like an actor because like it was like one movie they needed like a really tall guy and he was like the only person available. And so he played it and then it's like literally been ever since then. I was like, that's actually really cool and also really terrifying.
that yeah, yeah. I see it here. Who you're talking about? This guy's named Robert Bobrovsky, Romanian
Yeah, it's a hard name.
a Romanian basketball player that
Hmm.
eventually became this like sort of I guess I don't know what you call him. Like he's an actor. He's a suit actor, I guess you would call him.
Hmm.
He actually was a Wookiee in The Mandalorian. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's actually kind of sick to know that now. I'm like, whoa, Captain Clark was a xenomorph too.
Yeah, that's
What
all
a
like and a
stacked cast,
Wookiee.
guys, and a Wookiee. So we got a stacked cast going on here, bro.
Yeah, I was like,
Uh,
that's kind of crazy.
let me see here.
Because like you, I was thinking honestly when I initially saw the movie, I was like, okay, they just made that practical. Like they just probably
Yeah,
made like an animatronic type of thing. Like Christopher Nolan, we was talking about the Cyclops they're gonna be having in the movie for the Odyssey. I was
yeah,
thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, maybe they just made like a really tall, like animatronic type of robot thing that they were able to control. But then I was like reading the credits and I was like seeing his face. I was like, I know that name and that face. Guy was in Romulus, and that sort of thing. I was like, wait, what was he as? And then it clicked to me. I was like, he was Captain Clark. I was like, no way, dude. That's actually kind of cool. And then I was like, you. I was like, he was also a Wookiee in Mandalorian. I was like, that's I'm like, this guy is getting. I'm like, being that tall. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but like, I'm like, there is. You can be an actor being that tall. Like, hey,
That-
if he's doing it, you can do it. Like that. I'm like, that's crazy. He's played as two characters that I honestly was terrified in watching. Like when I saw Alien Romulus, the first time that like the ending, like the last like 20 minutes of that film, dude, were some of the most like anxiety induced moments of that film because like watching this really tall thing like chase after what's the name's character, dude? I was like, and then the final scene where she was like, she kicks it off the thing, like it was a hole that blows up in the ship. She kicks it in the outer space, and you think like it's gone away, and then they do like a close up, and he like jumps back at her. I was like, yo,
yeah,
bro, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I actually might go back and watch that movie again just because like how good it was. But I'm like that part right there, dude. I was like, oh man,
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I love Alien Romulus. Fede Alvarez did an amazing job with that too. Honestly, dude, we're in the cusp. We're in the little breadcrumbs leading to hopefully Alien versus Predator eventually. Hopefully,
I'm hopeful. I'm
right?
hoping.
Like with
I'm
our
hoping.
new Predator movies we've been getting, and then of course like Alien coming back with Alien Romulus, and then getting a sequel, and then the TV show. It's about a matter of time. Uh, I will say maybe it would be kind of neat to end off with like a discussion because actually I don't think I'll be able to really talk about it much because there hasn't been a ton of movies out this year with animation so far, but there has been a few. And from the ones you have seen, what would you say is your favorite so far of 2026?
Um.
Because there
Hmm.
hasn't been a lot, but there's been like about like I have four on my list. I'm sure there's a lot of anime movies I missed out on, but like yeah, whatever you've seen.
There's I this honestly probably won't be a hot take because I keep seeing a lot of people say something good about this, and they say that they like this over the Super Mario Galaxy movie. If I had to choose a animation film right now, at
Hmm.
least I would say Hoppers.
Yeah. Hmm.
I would say Hoppers. I saw Hoppers. I think one of the last weeks it was in theaters. I was able to catch it before it went out because honestly, I was telling people I was like, I actually am really intrigued about watching this. Pixar seemed
Hmm.
that they did a really good job with this movie from what I've seen. I was like, I want to give it a shot. I gave it a shot, and I was saying I enjoyed Mario Galaxy really only be
Oh, there goes. You go ahead.
oh there we go.
There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
mean, I was like, I thought I went out for a second, but I was saying I enjoyed Hoppers more for the simple fact that I don't know Super Mario Galaxy. It really didn't seem like outside of the Easter eggs that they were putting in there from like Smash Bros. References and like
Yeah.
some stuff to do like the other Mario games. Obviously, there's gonna be like a lot of Mario like Easter eggs in there. It really feels
Yeah.
like outside of the Easter eggs, there wasn't that big of a story.
Yeah. And I get that argument. I personally think I agree with you. Hoppers so far, since like out of the Western animated films, I know a lot of people probably tell us like,
Yeah,
"Hey, there was all these anime movies," and I'm like, "Damn it, I didn't get to see them because they weren't in theater."
yeah,
I'll watch them. Don't you worry, guys. But Hoppers as like the Western animation stuff has been my favorite too. I like Hoppers a lot. Um, for Mario Galaxy, it's interesting. I actually weirdly prefer it over the first, but it's probably just more of that like all the like I love the Mario Galaxy game, and I know it didn't really adapt it that heavily, unfortunately. I know that they kind
yeah,
of could have done better with that, but I still had a good time with it. I still like the characters we've gotten to know so far, obviously, and it was a fun time, and that's what I'll say. But Hoppers, like you said, it's actually kind of a cool, unique concept with Pixar now. I like that they kind of made this weird thing where, oh yeah, now you can just put your brain in an animal robot or something, and then you can just
yeah,
go off and
y-
speak to them like in their own native like tongue or whatever you want to call it. But
yeah,
yeah, it had a lot of heart. It had a lot of, in the animation's fantastic. Like, I mean, Pixar doesn't miss with animation, but they get better and better, as the
yeah.
years go by. And
That's something I was saying too.
mm, oh,
That was
about the
something.
animation.
Yeah, that was something I was telling somebody because they were saying like I forgot who I was talking to about this. They was like, "Hey, I was hearing that like Hoppers, they were saying like this is a return to form for Pixar. Would you say that that's true?" I was like, honestly, I could I could say that. Yeah, I could say that. I
Yeah,
don't think um I would like to see what they're gonna do next in order to truly stand on that statement. But for
yeah,
right now, from what I saw in Hoppers, I would say this is a beginning to return to form. I would
yeah,
definitely say it's in like if you were talking about stages and stuff like that, I would definitely say that they're in the early stage of return to form. Whatever movie that they do next, that's the movie that would probably need to be like the true definitive, like, okay, this is like an actual return to form for them in order for me to like solidify that statement. But yeah, it's the beginning of the return to form. I just
yeah,
liked it, like you said, because it had heart. Like Mario
mhm,
Galaxy, like I get it. It's Mario. It's gonna have like the feels of like you playing a video game, and it's gonna be more so like Easter egg reference infused more than like an actual story.
yeah,
But the first one worked because there was an actual like story with it. It was like Mario's a
yeah,
plumber. He needed to find something in himself to try to, go off on this adventure and defeat, Bowser and things like that. This one, it just felt like also with the title of it, you were expecting like, okay, they're gonna be traveling the galaxy because it's Super Mario Galaxy. This is supposed to be like the game. I remember
mhm,
playing the game and I
yeah,
remember watching it, and me and my friend, we were like, this was nothing like the game. So
mhm,
yeah, and it's like you said too. I know there's gonna because I'm also like that as well. There's obviously anime movies that are gonna be coming out that or have come out that we probably didn't watch. There's gonna be international animation films that usually
mhm.
are at the Oscars that. So I'll probably get around to watching those as well. But for right now, if somebody were to ask me, like you just said, like what's the best animation film, I would say Hoppers.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Concept wise, characters, animation, it's all fantastic around the board. I mean, there's two others that came out that I liked too. Like there was that one, I think it was correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember. I think it was DreamWorks that did Goat. Am I right? Am I right?
Oh,
DreamWorks?
I saw that. I
Is it DreamWorks? I'm
that's
not
an
sure.
interesting one.
Oh,
It is
Sony
DreamWorks.
Pictures. Sony Pictures.
Oh, Sony Pictures?
Yeah, Sony Pictures.
Because that was
So
the one with
more.
Caleb McLaughlin, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the basketball one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a really fun time.
I had a fun time. I was gonna say I had a fun time with that. It's an interesting film because I do feel like the story like kind of gets into like a generic like finding the good within yourself to try to do whatever. But
Yeah.
overall, like I had a fun time. Like it was nice seeing like Stephen Curry like voice a
Oh yeah.
character. It was nice seeing like all these people that I like voicing characters. But yeah, it was just probably like a I don't want to say like that, but it was probably just like a regular run of the mill animation film. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, this is
Yeah.
like a good animation film that you should go and watch. And be like, okay, I watched that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
Those
perfectly fine film. Yeah.
Yeah, those are I tell people all the time because they'll hear my reactions to certain films and I'll say that and they're like, so it's a bad film. I'm like, no, that doesn't like here's the thing with people when it comes to
Uh,
movies, right? It
yeah.
doesn't movies don't necessarily all the time have to be quote unquote like bangers. Sometimes you just need like a good movie to go watch at the
Yeah.
theaters.
Hmm.
This was that type of movie. It was just like a good movie to go watch at the theaters. It's just nothing more, nothing less. Just
Yeah.
like I had a fun
Exactly.
time.
Yeah. I kind of get. I feel the exact same way you do because when I do say that, I think even sometimes in my comment sections for like TikToks when I give a review, they're like, "You don't sound like you like it that much," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be like, that's the whole point of this thing is that I'm just saying it's fine. I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but I don't necessarily think it's amazing either. So it's
Yeah.
like you said, why can't we just have some fun movies here and there? I don't know what the point. Like you said, I think it's like, maybe you could disagree with me. The something like let's say Masters of the Universe technically, I think was like it was a really it was a fun film, man. I mean, honestly, I had more bias because I love the Masters Universe franchise, but I also think that just going into that, not knowing much about it, it's just a fun
Mhm.
time. You're just having
Yeah.
fun, and it doesn't need to be breaking ground in cinema and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
And that's the type of I I told my because it was actually kind of funny. I was talking to my dad about this on Monday. Um, and I told him I was like, I'll make a video about this because I don't think people understand like what I mean by that. But
Hmm.
the same way we're saying that now about movies in general is the same way I try to get people to understand that whenever like something happens with Marvel lately comes
Yeah.
out and they start critiquing it and they say like Marvel is dead. I'm like, guys, I get it, right? We had like a lightning in the bottle moment where Infinity Saga was like this just pop culture reinvention, kind of rejuvenation of the Marvel brand. Like everybody was loving Marvel. It was like a culmination with Infinity War and Endgame. Like Marvel was on top, right?
Yeah.
Now you can say quote unquote reality has hit Marvel mainly because of the pandemic, mainly because of a lot of other factors, but sure, okay, reality has hit Marvel. Since the multiverse saga, I do feel, and this might be sounding biased, but honestly, even if I wasn't like a Marvel comic book fan or whatever, just looking at it for what it is, I do think we tend to hate on Marvel just a little bit right now. I think that's like the current trend is to just like
Yeah.
compare Marvel with like a bad movie. And I'm like, you guys have to remember, like Marvel, when they're good, they give us stuff like Endgame, like Infinity War, like Civil War, like the first Avengers movie, like Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movies. So when
Hmm.
they're on top of their game, they can give us good film. Black Panther's another one.
Oh yeah.
But also with that notion and knowing what Marvel can give us, sometimes it is okay to sprinkle in a movie here and there where it's like this is just a good movie. This is just a good
Yeah.
Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie to go watch in the theaters. Like in my opinion, I felt like there was a lot of hate, and I might be remembering this wrong. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember the
Oh
film because I don't want
yeah.
to. I
No
know they
problem.
made a lot of movies.
We're talking about Marvel still, right?
Yeah, it was
Oh
a, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
a
Like post Endgame, man. I still was always gonna be on the Marvel train. I'm not gonna be like, oh, every movie after that was still amazing, and I have nothing to say about it.
yeah.
Of course, I have critiques, man. Like everyone else, like you said, I still have critiques. I like to enjoy these films too, just to have a good time. I agree. I mean, objectively, they're not the best past Endgame, but not there's some bangers here though. I will say, phases
That's
four
the
through
movie.
six, there's some bangers, man.
Yeah, that's the movie I just saw in there too that I just remembered. Eternals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was a
Eternals. Mhm.
lot. There's even like still, Ian. There's like a lot. Anytime people bring up what's like the worst Marvel movie or
Oh
like
my
what's your
god.
least favorite Marvel movie, people are always like Eternals was so bad. Like they don't understand why it needs to be made. Blah blah blah. Now here's the thing, right? Story wise, I can understand like Eternals being a bad movie in the sense that like Marvel took forever to capitalize on like a celestial being in the middle of the earth, right?
Yeah.
And then we only now just got a payoff with Captain America: Brave New World with that. But in the literal sense of like introducing characters, people have to remember that Eternals was introduced literally at the beginning of Phase 4. That was
Yes.
Marvel trying to basically start over, reintroduce new characters for the next upcoming saga. So I'm like, for that movie, when I watched it, I don't think it was that bad. It's a long movie, sure, but I didn't. It really didn't feel like a long movie in my opinion. It really felt because the movie's like 2 hours and like 30 minutes or whatever. It honestly
Yeah.
felt like an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I could just
I
be saying that. I could be biased in saying that. I don't know, but like if you watch the movie, it's really not as bad of a movie as people are saying. Like there's really good action in that movie. The CGI is like it's a little hit or miss. Like there's certain scenes
yeah.
where it works. Like Makari's scenes where she's running, I like those scenes.
Oh yeah.
There's like a lot of CGI when it comes to Icarus's character, where I was like, that could have been a little better. But overall,
Yeah.
like I think it's a decent film.
Yeah. And that's why can it be? Why can't it just be a
Yeah,
decent film? Because
like it's a decent film.
and also the people on the internet, man, John, I hate when people are like, "Oh, Eternals, the worst Marvel movie ever made." You guys don't watch movie.
I'm
You
like,
guys do not watch movies, bro. Especially Marvel movies. Because I'm so sorry. there is worse movies in this franchise and this whole
There
saga
is.
than Eternals, because at least Eternals try to do something different. I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna bring it
Yeah.
up. Ant-Man and the Wasp, bro. What the
Yeah,
hell?
I Quantum Mania was not. I'm like, if somebody was like, "Hey, this is like the worst Marvel film," I'm like, I'd agree. Yes,
Yeah,
they
that.
literally, the only thing great about the movie was Kang. If it not been for Kang, that
Yes.
movie would have been like, I don't even think that movie would have got a 1 star. It probably would have been like the first Marvel movie that got 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. Because
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
like you. I'm like, what the hell was that, dude? Like, and my thing about it is like, okay, yeah, you introduced like this really great comic book villain in
Mhm.
King the Conqueror. Not
Yeah.
talking about anything that happened with Jonathan Majors. I'm just talking about like
Yeah.
his
Just
performance and like the character, like straight performance, right? You introduce like this character who actually is really like could be his own threat for his
yeah.
own saga, which is what it was going to
It
be
was
until this stuff
supposed to.
happened.
Yeah.
But then it's like you lose whatever aura you built with him in the movie because you had him lose to literally like ants.
Uh,
I'm just like, he literally lost to ants. The last scene we see of him was him getting dragged away basically by ants. Sure, Ant Man and him had that fight, but by the time him and Ant Man had the fight in the movie, at the end of the movie, it's like, no, buddy, like you already kind of like lost it for me because you just lost the ants. Like and then
it,
like Modoc wasn't Modoc in that movie. I was
oh
just like,
no, that looks
dude,
so
I
bad,
was like,
man.
oh
It
my
looks.
gosh,
I don't know why they made that guy Yellow Jacket Omodoc. He should have been his own thing. And also, I'm
yeah,
sorry. And poor VFX artists. I understand that they're being crunched to
they're under,
time right now, but like
yeah.
that was a horrible design for that character.
It's
I
it's so
really.
bad, Ian. It's so
Mhm.
bad. I remember specifically. I don't know how this happened, but I think my parents went to go watch it. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna go watch the Marvel movie that's out right now,
Yeah.
Quantumania," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was saying that because I'm like, "There's a lot of other movies that you guys can be watching in the theaters right now. Like, why are you watching that one?" But I was gonna tell them. I was like, "Hey, if they're gonna watch it. I'll let them watch it. Come back to me and tell me what you thought about it." They come back home. They're telling me they were like, "Yeah, John, that was like probably the worst movie I've ever seen this year." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my mom
It's
literally said, she was like, if not been for Jonathan Majors, I would have not been interested in that movie. I was like,
and
hey,
that's fair, man, because that performance is so damn good.
it
Uh
was.
it's funny too, because the only highlight I could remember, and it's only because it was like actually like a more personal thing for me, was that like that was like one of the that was one of the movies I went with an ex-girlfriend to, and that was like the first time we held hands was during that movie. But
Mm,
that's the thing. Otherwise, there's no good memory from that movie otherwise. And that's why I'm
I don't.
saying that's why we were saying, but yeah.
I mean, like I'm like I was telling people because I am of the opinion I do have my preference when it comes to her character,
Yeah.
Cassie. I
Hmm.
do think, especially how they went about it, I was just like, that's kind of like the wrong way to do that. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna introduce Catherine Newton as Cassie Lang, it would have been like the respectable thing to do was to tell the other actors, like, hey, okay, that was just for Endgame. Like, we're not gonna use you. We're trying to go in a
Yeah.
different tone for the character. Your performance was great, but this is the direction we're gonna go in for a character. Okay, fine as well. Like, cool. Catherine Newton, she's not a bad actress, but that was probably like the worst performance for that character. It was like nothing that I could get behind. It was nothing of substance that I found enjoyable about her character when she was on screen. Maybe when they introduce her or reintroduce her with the Younger Avengers and she's like riffing off the Younger Avengers. Okay, I think that could work because I think her style of like her character and the tone of her character could go in that direction where like if she's riffing off like Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop and like maybe Miles Morales or whoever they introduce, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, that could work. But like her character being introduced as far as the tone of her character after I forgot her name, but I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Catherine Lang or something like that
Let me see.
version of the character in the in game. I was just like, yeah, dude, that's a hard pass for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I like Catherine Newton. She's a great actress. But to be fair, too, I don't really see the reason why they had to cast her and not just keep the same actress, because this movie's already star-studded. You got Paul Rudd, you already got Jonathan Majors, you got Michelle Pfeiffer, and you got Michael Douglas, and you got Lily. that plays Hope.
Yeah, yeah, basically movie.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't really need to add her in there to be kind of part of that star stud of a cast. I think it was fine just to use the same actress. I don't really see the issue, but I don't know. And
It's
I
like,
I don't know. Actually, I don't see her name here, but yes, I know who you're talking about. But yeah. That's funny to go on a tangent about this, but I could. That's a whole thing we should do. Just a Marvel stream. We need to just talk about Marvel.
yeah,
Just
because I was like, yeah, it's a lot of things been happening right now that I was gonna make some videos about that tomorrow because I was like, I need to make some content, and that was probably the crux of what I was gonna talk about. Because like aside from that and like the stuff that's going on with them, I'm like I've been seeing like just a lot of uh just a lot of I don't know what's going on with Marvel's like the department that they have for like keeping tabs on stuff that goes on social media.
oh yeah.
But like
Mhm.
things are like leaking left and right, Ian. I'm like, I'm like, where are the snipers at? You guys are like
Oh my
asleep
gosh.
at the job right now, dude. I'm like seeing things leaked about Spider-Man Brand New Day, seeing things leaked about Avengers
For,
Doomsday. I'm seeing photos about Avengers Doomsday. I'm like, what is going on?
and
And then the
they
thing
can't.
about it is,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I mean, I was gonna. The thing about it is like people. Because I go on Reddit for like the crux of like the spoilers and like the rumors, but that
Hmm.
the crux of what I've seen is like people are like, "Oh, is this AI?" And
Yeah.
usually the response right now for the stuff that's recently from
Yeah.
Marvel, as far as like Brand New Day and Doomsday,
Hmm.
it is not AI. Like these are
No.
the actual photos that we're seeing, and that I'm pretty sure you've seen. Like these are
Yes.
actual like scenes from the movie. So I'm like, guys, can we like stop for a second? Can we drop everything and stop for a second?
Oh,
What do you mean the biggest movie that you guys have made since probably Spider-Man No Way Home and the biggest Spider-Man movie possibly since you probably No Way Home,
yeah.
all the information are leaking online? What do you mean by that? Like
Yeah.
this is the two biggest movies you guys have coming out and like you guys like what's going on right now?
And I agree with you, John. The thing too is that at least with No Way Home, it almost felt like secretly they kind of wanted it to be leaked, right? You're like, oh, I think they knew people were gonna see it anyway. So they're like, we're gonna get
Yeah.
people hyped. But this time around, I'm like, I don't think that's the case right now. This is just
No.
it's just chaos right now for sure.
And that's the thing too. Like if you like I'm pretty sure that was something I was thinking about too, because I'm like, it really does feel like this is actually like leaking. Because the last time I remember, it's like the Russo brothers were saying that they were filming most of these scenes on an undisclosed location.
Hmm.
Even if you were trying to have like drones fly over, try to get air shot, like bird's eye, like photos, you were not going to be able to do that. Like no one was essentially going to be able to get into like this location. It was preserved by like security. Like it was very, very secretive. So I'm like the fact that like photos are leaking, scenes are leaking from Avengers Doomsday. We're knowing what these characters are going to be in the movie. We're seeing that definitively there's a scene where like most of the characters are going to be working together. I'm
Yeah.
like this is probably real because last
Yeah.
time we were talking about this, they were saying there was no way any of this stuff was going to come out because we have like tight lipped on this stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of it always reminds me of when back in was it 2014? I mean, it's not Marvel, but it was like adjacent because it was Sony's big email leaks, remember back in the
Oh
day
yeah,
about
yeah,
all their
yeah,
about all the movies they were supposed to come out with. Uh and that was a genuine leak because that was just like because of
yeah. It
yeah,
was.
that was genuine. I mean, this sound seems genuine too. I think I might be wrong too, but I've been hearing people say, and of course I haven't seen it, and I don't want to see it because I'm sure it's like very bad looking anyway. But I've heard people even think that there might be a full version of the movie floating around somewhere. You know what I
Oh no,
mean?
there is, dude. There
There
is.
is, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So like the thing about me, right, is because like I'm somewhat of the person, not one of the people, but I'm like somewhat my content when it comes to Marvel is reporting stuff like the rumors and stuff like that, just so
Yeah.
people are aware. So I think honestly, it might have been like either a couple days or like last week where I saw like somebody that I follow on Twitter that's like a big person within the rumor mill when it comes to Marvel and like DC stuff like that. I think it
Yeah.
was Daniel RPK. He had put a tweet out and was like, okay, just letting you guys know, These are four versions of Avengers Doomsday that are going around online right now. One of them is real. The other ones are fake. The first one that you see in this photo is real. The rest of them are fake. And I literally saved that and I started reading it. I was like, oh my gosh, this actually is real because this goes back to a lot of stuff that they were like rumors were coming out about like last year about Avengers
Mhm.
Doomsday that people were like, oh no, that's fake. Like that's not gonna happen. Like you're hearing stuff about like Magneto and Doctor Doom and like Ian McKellen like blowing up New Jersey. I was like, okay, like this is actually. So I was like reading it. And, like the more I'm reading it, my eyes are like, and like midway through, I like stopped reading. I'm like, yeah, I can't read anything more about that dude because that literally probably is like the whole entire movie. And I
Oh
started thinking,
man.
I'm like, I started like sitting. I was literally sitting in my room after reading it. I was like, dude, there's no way somebody is like leaking all this stuff. So then I started going with this mind frame, right? Because I was like you. I was like, maybe, and we could be wrong and maybe thinking about this. One or two things are happening right now at Marvel. Either they're secretly leaking this stuff to drum up excitement because we still haven't got like the official trailer for Avengers Doomsday
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
We've only
Yeah.
gotten like the character centric kind of group centric trailers for Avengers Doomsday. And they've essentially from the Russo brothers confirmed they've essentially only been like snippets from different scenes of the movie. We
Yes.
haven't gotten an official like trailer for Avengers Doomsday. So either one, this could be like Marvel releasing stuff to steer the ship away from like fans getting upset about them not revealing an actual trailer yet. Or two, this could be somebody trying to get some sort of notoriety or attention within the leaking, like speculation, leaks realm of the internet, and all this stuff is AI. That's like literally the two things I've been thinking about. But I've been leaning more towards like secretly Marvel might be releasing other stuff because I'm like, dude, there's stuff about like Avengers Secret Wars leaking right now, and they've only just basically started filming Avengers Secret Wars. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's stuff about Doomsday. There's stuff about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I just saw a leak yesterday, whether I think it was either from Tom Holland or like somebody found information out about it. There's like a ton of other villains that haven't been named that are going to be returning in this movie and that are going to be in this movie. And there's a villain in this movie that's the main villain that hasn't even been like confirmed or speculated about that's going to
Y-
be the main villain. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
happening right now? This is
Yeah.
honestly crazy. I
And
don't remember Marvel there ever being a time like this for Marvel. Even at the height of like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, I don't think it was ever where it was like all this stuff is leaking left and right.
yeah, and you're you're 100% right, man. It's been the worst so far I've ever seen it for them. Uh, whether it is actually them, I don't want to give them credit actually because I feel like that is too much to be revealing to just rant. Like that just sounds like too much. You can't be revealing that much. And I mean, think about it like this. I guess technically we're not like necessarily like we're pretty hardcore. I would say we're pretty hardcore fans, so we're always looking at
Hmm.
things online and stuff. The general public won't even know about what we're talking about usually unless they hear it directly. But like
Hmm.
it is crazy though to have all this stuff leaking so much. And I'm like, and I'm glad I'm not necessarily seeing all of it. Like I'm sure you're seeing a lot of it. I do see it, but it's just like I don't know. I just try to ignore everything right now about it. And I like you said too, I've been seeing those scenes. I hate it's so weird. People are like, no, guys, it's real. It's just enhanced with AI. Or it's like, no, it's full AI. Or no, it's just real. And I'm like, I don't
It's like what I'm like I
I
don't
don't
know, bro.
know, bro.
Because now I'm hearing stuff. I'm pretty sure, and I know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure you've seen that picture at least of like all of them like standing right there, or it's like Steve Rogers, it's Thor, it's like Nightcrawler, it's Beast.
With
So now I'm
the
hearing,
dad outfit.
yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing that that's the thing that I've seen online. They're like, Dad, Steve Rogers incoming. Okay, I can dig this. I was like, yo, what? And then I looked at his outfit. I was like, he does look like a dad. He just has like a black t-shirt and like cargo pants on. I was like, what's going on, Steve? But no, I was gonna say the thing now I'm hearing about that picture and like the scene that was leaked behind it is apparently it's real, but it's not it's from footage of basically it's footage that they're not gonna put in the movie. Like it was a scene that
Yeah.
they just filmed to try to see what they wanted to do for that scene, I guess. But they're not that's not the actual scene that's gonna be in the movie. So I'm like, okay, so like so a concept essentially.
It's
of
all
this scene.
it's all
Right.
convoluted information.
I'm like, so a concept of this scene just leaked, but this is not the actual scene. But essentially, we're seeing the concept. So this is real all of a sudden. But then it's one of those things where it's like, if the actual scene that we saw was the actual scene that's going to be in the movie, then it'd probably be like, oh no, this is AI to try to sway people away from believing. So I'm like, it's just a lot of like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, just drop the
I
movie.
don't.
Just drop the movie already, guys.
Yeah, I'm like, skip the initial date that you guys had to release it. Drop the movie now, because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is getting insane. It's
You know
getting
what's
crazy
funny
out
though?
here,
A shadow drop Doomsday would go crazy because everyone would freak the hell
dude.
out, and it would probably get more money than it would if it was just actually coming out in December. So
That'd be insane.
it would break everybody's brains probably, just because you're like,
Pretty sure,
wait, it just revealed. It just got
right? I'm
released.
just like this Friday. Wait, what? No,
What?
what?
No, we haven't got
Super
our
was just
tickets yet. Oh well, tickets
yeah.
are
I'm
sold out.
like, wait. I'm like, okay. You still have the Odyssey to drop. Like, what's going on with that?
No, they're pushing that back too. They're like, we can't
Yeah,
do it. No,
yeah. We
no.
just actually we pushed that back. That's gonna be replacing Avengers Doomsday. So
Oh
you're
my
gonna get the
god,
Odyssey,
it's gonna be
Dune Odyssey.
Dune Odyssey. Yeah, it's gonna be
That
crazy.
that'd be actually kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
That would be a good pairing though. Those are like they kind of blend well together. But I also don't mind the more like different tone with like Doomsday, the Doomsday kind of,
Yeah,
kind of thing. But you know what, John? That sounds like a good place to wrap it up, I think. I think we had a good discussion. We ended off with some Marvel leak talk. So,
I'm cool with
guys,
that. Yeah,
the Doomsday's dropping Friday, so just get ready. It's
yeah,
getting
dude. To
dropped
get your,
tomorrow. We don't
it's
know
actually
that
getting
for sure.
dropped tomorrow.
Yeah,
Marvel lied to us. It's not getting
yeah,
dropped in
you're hearing it
the
here
whole Doomsday
first.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you heard it from me first.
I imagine if look, we don't know when the trailer's coming out. They're still so weird about it, but it would be so funny if we're just happening to talk about it and they just shadow drop the trailer tomorrow and we're like, I
Dude,
I don't
I'm like,
know.
okay, there's like a billion streams and a billion views for a trailer that just dropped for an anticipated movie. Okay, sure, yeah,
Sure, why
all
not?
right.
But okay, John. Well, I appreciate you coming on to talk movies with me, man. It's been a really fun time, having
My
been able
pleasure.
to talk to you in a bit. So it's been awesome to catch up and
My
stuff.
pleasure.
And if you want to go ahead and remind them, is there any projects you got going on your TikTok, or how you're gonna like put some more content out on YouTube or anything?
Yeah, so what I'm slowly doing, it's taking me a little bit right now because I'm kind of sifting through, but you guys should go follow me on YouTube. I go by the same name, John Talks, and if you can't find it that way, the handle name is Talk John Talk. What I'm slowly doing is transitioning all of my videos about like Marvel, Star Wars, like movie reviews over to YouTube. Because TikTok right now, like in the last couple of days or like weeks, like they've been like really weird with like, the views and stuff like that. Like everybody's
Yeah,
views have been down. So I'm like, let me just start transitioning over to that. I have like a little bit of like a small following on there. So I'm trying to like get more consistent on there. There are some videos I have to make tomorrow, and I'm very excited about making as far as like what we were talking about with Marvel and stuff like that. So be looking out on that. But yeah, if you're on TikTok, follow me at John Talks. If you're on Instagram, follow me at Film Geek John, Talk John Talk. Uh, yeah, that's what be expecting from me. I am currently writing something. I'm trying
okay.
to get a short film off the ground. I'm
Ooh,
currently writing. Yeah, I have an idea for a short film that I want to do. But I have to, yeah, basically all the logistics stuff. But yeah,
okay. I like it. That's awesome. Well, you guys go check out John, all his content and everything. And yeah, that'll do it for the stream, man. So yeah, hope everyone has a good night, good morning, whenever you're watching this. So yeah.
thank you again.